wouldn't say it's even a benefit. I'd say it's a requirement, right? So we knew really early on in an AI world, a unified data layer was going to be a necessity. It wasn't going to be an option. It was going to be an absolute necessity for AI tools to work.
From the Aishin Broadcast Studio, it's the Executive Spotlight.
Welcome to another episode of AutoSuccess Executive Spotlight. I'm Kyle Alexander, and joining me once again today is Greg Uland, Vice President of Marketing at Reynolds Reynolds. Hey, Greg, thanks for joining me again here today on Executive Spotlight.
Of course, great to see you again, Kyle.
Happy to have you back. So we're talking about a hot topic today in not just the dealer industry, but really the entire world. We're talking about artificial intelligence. And it just so happens that Reynolds Reynolds just released their State of AI report for Q1 of 2026. Talks a lot about how AI is changing the way that dealers are running their businesses nowadays. So Greg, first thing I want to touch on with you about this topic, talk me through this report, tell me a little bit about it, and tell me some of the results. What stuck out? What are some insights that dealers need to know from this report?
Sure. So the report itself was really a survey, right? A study done of dealership personnel. So dealership personnel across the country with a lot of responses. And what we were looking to gather was where people are today, where they see things going. And there's really four key buckets in the report. The first one was use cases, right? How are people using it? The second one was who in the dealership is using it most, which actually executives and dealers, about 70% of respondents said that they were using it who are executives and dealers, so very high usage at the management level. Then it goes into the benefits that the dealers are seeing, right? And that's kind of the big thing is what impact is it having? That's a big question, and what are the problems we're solving? And then finally looked at kind of where everybody sees this going, right? What's next, both in the very, very near term, the short term, because timelines are extremely short with artificial intelligence and how quickly things are being developed, but also sort of the medium and long term and what's next and where things are going. So the report really breaks down those four buckets and dives into each area pretty deeply.
That's a lot of what these questions are going to be about here, Greg. First bucket that I want to kind of touch on is that use case bucket. How are dealers using AI today, and why is it so important that dealers integrate AI into their workflows if they haven't already?
Yeah, a lot of the use cases today are really about efficiency gains. And what's exciting is we're starting to see more and more use cases pop up that are really changing workflows, not just making them more efficient, but where dealers are using them today right now. I'll give you a couple of examples. One is inside the CRM, right? So you think about crafting a communication to a customer, whether that's a text message or an email, and being able to have artificial intelligence craft that based off of all the information that we know about that customer. And then, if it's not exactly how you want to communicate with that customer, regenerate it, make it in your voice. So really that customer communication and that generative AI is a tool that's being used quite a bit. Another really compelling use case, really also in the CRM realm, is around phone calls and follow up on those phone calls. So great example is, for a sales manager, when they come in the morning, one of the things that they're probably going to do is look for hot cases, right? People that called in yesterday that are either ready to buy or even upset. And they're going to follow up and make sure those hot cases are taken care of, they're handled. So we're seeing AI being used to help streamline that process. So a customer calls in, and instead of a sales manager having to listen to every single call, now they come in the morning, and the 3 calls that were hot cases yesterday are served up to them automatically because the AI is transcribing every call, it's summarizing every call in a couple sentences, and then it's tagging every call with sentiment. So this customer's ready to buy. And then off of those tags, it can create activities in the CRM for that sales manager or the salesperson when they come in the morning and prioritize them automatically. So a lot of that work that was manual and takes a lot of time is really getting to the end goal of being able to contact that customer. And another big bucket of use cases falls under reporting, right? And being able to streamline reporting, making it much more efficient, and being able to find the information you need with a simple prompt rather than pulling 4 different reports from 4 different tools and taking Excel and trying to merge them together, and that taking hours of your time. So being able to get that in seconds, really.
I want to start talking about the benefits bucket here, kind of talking about something that could help benefit AI, in turn helping dealers out. What I mean by that is we got to talk about clean connected data sets. So what are the benefits of clean connected data in all areas of a dealership's business, and how does this impact the use of AI at a dealership?
Well, it's not even, I wouldn't say it's even a benefit. I'd say it's a requirement, right? So we knew really early on in an AI world, a unified data layer was going to be a necessity. It wasn't going to be an option. It was going to be an absolute necessity for AI tools to work. So when you think about a software world, right, and you think about siloed tools and siloed data sets that, they have duplicate information, missing information, inaccurate information. There's all these different buckets. And when you have that in a software environment, it slows people down, right? It makes processes more efficient. Think about all the tabs somebody has open when they're trying to do a car deal, or how many tools a dealership has to use to take care of one customer in the service department. There's all these workflows that have become really, really cumbersome. But in an AI world, the tools don't slow down, right? The tools go fast, and with inaccurate and duplicate and missing information, they do the wrong thing fast. And that can have really big implications when you think about customer communications or things like structuring a deal. So we need to make sure that information is consolidated and it's unified. So we took the time and built out Spark AI, which is our unified AI data layer, to really, really solve that problem. Because again, in this AI world, without that unified data layer, all these tools are going to cause major issues.
Absolutely. Shifting gears to the bucket of who's using AI at dealerships, I think, from my perspective, kind of seeing the entire industry and what's happening, starting to see use cases of AI in almost every facet of the dealership. So I kind of want to take this question and turn it from the customer perspective. What do customers expect from dealers at every facet of a dealership regarding AI usage?
Well, I don't know if they necessarily are focused on how dealers are using AI. A customer wants a great experience, right? They want people who are empowered to take care of them. They want things to go quickly. They want to be able to buy on their schedule, not somebody else's schedule. So for them, as a consumer, we don't necessarily fixate on, okay, is artificial intelligence being used? Unless it's bad, right? If it's a terrible experience, then we're gonna notice it. But if it's a great experience, it doesn't really matter if I'm working with an AI agent or if a salesperson is being helped by an AI agent. If it creates a great experience for me as a consumer, that's the outcome that I want, right? If I'm sitting on my couch at 10 o'clock at night because it's the only time in the day that I have to shop for a car and do some research and I have some questions I want answered, I don't want to fill out a form and wait until tomorrow when I'm at work to get a message back. That's not convenient for me. And I'm probably going to miss that call or not be able to respond to that message. So then I'm back in this loop where, okay, it's 10 o'clock at night when I have free time and I can't get a hold of anybody. So that's not what I want. What I want is to be able to engage in real time, get the information I need to make the decision. And at the end of the day, we all still crave on some level that interaction with people, right?
Absolutely.
So I want those people, even as a consumer, I want to be able to talk to somebody. So that person should be empowered with all the information about me, right? Everything that I've done. So if I have had a conversation with an AI agent, all the questions that I've had, all the answers that I've received, that salesperson should have them so that they can talk to me in a kind of linear format where it doesn't feel like I'm starting over, right? We're building off of the conversation I've already had. I want that salesperson to be, this is a really simple example, but I was just talking with a dealer yesterday, and I want that salesperson to be happy, right? When you have employees at a store who are happy and they feel empowered and they're not stressed and overwhelmed, they can make the customer feel a lot happier. They can deliver an experience to that consumer that's much better and helps them say yes, right? So I want to interact with those people who have the tools available to them to make them more efficient. So for the customer, again, I don't think it's necessarily about their expectations for dealers using AI. It's about the expectations they have for the interaction as a whole. And how can I get a great interaction, have a great experience when I'm working with a dealer? And if that's empowered by AI, great.
What's next for AI? Where do you see AI going from here in how it can help dealerships into the future?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're just at the very, very beginning, which is exciting because there's so many powerful ways to leverage it today. But as we go forward, that more and more doors are going to open up. And I think when you think about how any tool, but certainly AI, can help dealerships, um, and you take a step back and you look at where we are in the industry, we're really in a fairly no growth market, right? There's not going to be a lot of organic growth. We're at a point where we're probably going to sell around 16 million cars a year. If we do see growth, it's not going to be significant. If we do see decline, it's hopefully not going to be significant. So we're in kind of this no growth market. So when that happens, it's really going to be a focus on efficiency is what's going to help with sustainable profitability, right? So how do we find those areas where we can be as efficient as possible? How do we make sure there's no wasted hours in the service department? How do we make sure there's no wasted opportunities in the sales department? How do we make sure there's no redundant processes in the business office, right? How do we help things be as streamlined and as efficient as possible? And a lot of this is going to revolve around AI tools and being able to streamline processes and create new processes and new workflows. But it's also going to be empowered by really agents, right? And when we think about AI and what it's capable of, we've rolled out Ray, which is our agentic AI assistant that's available across the entire Reynolds ecosystem. And when you think about what's possible and where things are going, there's a world where Ray is going to be able to do as much or as little as that dealership wants it to be able to do, right? If it wants Ray to be able to answer questions and help with things inside of the system, it can do that. If it wants Ray to put a number on a car that they're looking to acquire, it can do that. If it wants it to deliver reporting to an inbox at 8 a.m. every Monday morning, it can do that too. But as we go forward, if it wants Ray to start posting deals or to start negotiating prices on acquiring a vehicle or going out and sourcing inventory, or there's all these, or all these functions that we're going to continue to turn over. And as dealerships become more and more comfortable, and frankly, once they experience that unified data layer where they can trust the information and trust the AI tools, that's when these use cases are really going to take off. Because that trust is the piece that we're still a little short on. And a lot of the reason for that is we have all these disparate tools still. And once we can experience this unified AI data layer, like Reynolds has built, that enables that trust in the tools on top of that layer to be able to deliver the right results and do it quickly. So that's where we're really going to see these doors start to open up, and the use cases are quite frankly endless. And what we're going to be able to unlock for dealers and the folks that work at dealerships is really, really exciting.
Absolutely, Greg. Definitely lots of cool stuff on the horizon, I'm sure, with AI. Thanks for all of your great insight on this. Last question I like to ask all our guests on Executive Spotlight. Anything else you want to add about the Q1 State of AI report or just artificial intelligence in general?
Well, the report's definitely a must read. It's information from dealers, right? Consolidated and compiled, and so it's right from the front lines. So it's a must read. Grab that and get some takeaways as far as use cases and what you can do today. Also, if you're not using AI tools, because in the report it really shows that a vast majority of personnel inside of dealerships are using some sort of AI tool in their workflows today. If you're not, I would absolutely encourage you to figure out how you can or what tools are available. Obviously, Reynolds has a lot, but there's a lot out there. So even if it's using other tools that are there, take a look, see what you can do, see how you can improve, see how you can be more efficient. And in this world where we're in a no growth market, how can you make the most of every opportunity that you have?
Awesome, Greg. Thanks again for joining me today.
Always my pleasure. We'll talk again soon, Kyle.
Download the full State of AI report for Q1 of 2026. Go to www.rayray.com/state-of-AI. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.